this one to be the one. I was tired of starting all over. And there was nothing really special about the products and services that we offer to me. If prior to us joining or us starting this business, if you would have asked me that, I would have been doing the things that we're doing now. I would have probably looked at you funny, because
it's not like growing up you always dreamed about making t-shirts and banners.
Right. Yeah, I never once thought of it. I never worked for anybody or saw anybody that did it. There was nothing about it. I've always liked concert t-shirts and things like that. I mean, I don't know if there's signs, of that maybe one day that I would do it, right? But or be in this type of business. But it's just when this one came around, I was at a point in my life that I was tired of starting all over, and the next opportunity that presented itself was this one right here, and I planted my feet. I was like, this is going to be the thing, or else. Like, I'm not going to start another business. I was tired of starting all over. And a lot of times we have reflexes that we develop in our lives, right? I call it the quit reflex. And so, it's not so much that quitting is not an option. Quitting is always an option, right?
Yeah.
But most people, they develop a reflex to quit depending on the circumstances that they're in, right? And the way that I like to say it is your reflex to quit is kind of like your reflex, like your gag reflex, right? You typically start to gag whenever you've bitten off more than you can chew, right? But people like me, how do they say it? I'd rather choke on greatness than nibble on mediocrity. Have you ever heard that? And it's like, I did bite off more than I could chew, but I was going to whittle away at it. I was going to figure it out, because I was tired of my life being controlled by my reflex to quit. And so we grow up, we're conditioned to quit whenever things get tough, right? Or maybe you're not called to do it. They say, maybe you should try doing something that you're good at, or something that you're passionate about, because if you're not passionate about it, you're going to quit as soon as it gets tough, right? And I call that the quit reflex. And so most people, they look at the reflex, their reflex to quit is based on like internal parameters that they make in their minds, that if the circumstances meet all of the, check off all of these criteria, then it's okay for me to quit, right? Some people will scale back. Some people will like move in, like quietly move to another thing because their passion has changed, right? Well, if anybody's watched Dexter, when Masuza said, don't mistake a tactical retreat for cowardice, right? And so quitting is quitting. Quitting is quitting. There's no mistaking quitting for, you can call it a tactical retreat, you can call it a change of heart, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but it's still quitting. Whenever you committed, this was the thing that you were going to do, and then you quit and don't do it anymore. That is that quit reflex. And if you don't learn how to manage that reflex to quit when the circumstances are right to quit, you will always quit as soon as the circumstances are too strong. And some people never get past the fear of failure. They quit before they even start. Because that fear, they can't even get past that, right? Yeah. And but some people get past the fear, but they never really establish like the conditions, right? So you don't wait until you've gotten into like you're in the middle of a storm to start figuring out how you're going to deal with the storm, right? Yeah. you want to set these parameters in your mind during good, peaceful, comfort time.
Yeah.
You know, so like for me, what I did is I said, okay, you know, grab my pen and paper in my mind mentally, right? It's like, okay, so when would it be okay for me to quit? Mm-hmm. And you got to ask yourself like that, straight up, like, is it ever okay to quit? So like for me, one of the things is if I was going to lose my wife, well, if my kids were never going to talk to me, if my health was going to deteriorate, that's too much of a price for me to pay to continue to be in business for myself, right? So those things, even though I may not seem like I would ever quit about anything, well, those things, if it was like that,
yeah,
I would, right? I would quit, and that would be my reason why I didn't continue going, right? But as long as those things are there, you have to have another, you know, conversation with yourself. When is it okay